I recently finished a project that I haven't been actively working on for years, but I did start several years ago with the goal of eventually finishing it. And that was the first kind of full album that I've ever made. And years ago, this was probably about 2018, 2017 or 18 or so. I had started this project where I was recording some traditional Irish music that I was just learning and arranging, and I was learning how to record, just kind of all of the technical aspects of it, and that was very difficult for me, just the recording aspects of it. I had a hard time. I don't really know what was so difficult about it for me, but it's just it was like just like doing high-level math or something. It was just like I couldn't understand it very well, and I would spend so much time just troubleshooting. Things wouldn't be recording right. They wouldn't. The volume would be way too low, or I was getting some weird, hum of the room sounds. I was playing more sloppily than I thought I was, so I couldn't line things up very well. I was using, back at the time, I was using Audacity, which is just a free recording software, and I think it works okay, but it doesn't have a lot of quality of life features, so it was kind of hard to use as I was just trying to learn how to record, because just for example, I couldn't set up, unless you are able to do this, and I just never knew how, which is possible, but I couldn't set up like a good a grid, like a metronome grid where I could see the beat, and I couldn't, I think it's called destructive effects, where any effects that I added, like if I'm just putting reverb or delay or anything like that down, it changes the whole waveform of the audio, and just permanently. It's not something I can turn off and on like I can with some other just nicer programs, and just things like that just I spent way too long on all of those aspects of it, and not very long at all on just the arranging and kind of the expressive parts of the music. So that was a very slow process. It took me a long time to record even just a couple songs like that, and I didn't want to continue on after getting a couple down, just because they weren't turning out quite how I had envisioned, just because I didn't understand the recording aspect well enough to actually get it, the way I saw it, the way I heard it in my head. So I just kind of fizzled out for a long time, just with music in general, but especially with this project. I had about half of it done, and several years passed by. I eventually started learning another software called Reaper, which is just a nicer one. Something I would recommend if you're looking for a good recording software that is cheap. It's not a subscription based like a lot of the mainstream professional ones are. You can use it for free, at least at the time that I first got it. You can use it for free for I think 60 days, and then after that it's a one-time fee of $60 for just a lifetime access to it, which feels very cheap compared to these subscription-based ones. And anyway, so I started learning. I felt like I was kind of starting over from zero, new recording program. It wasn't very intuitive. There's so much going on. I'm just spending hours and hours on tutorials, And at that point, I'd wanted to record some more and just have it be a better version, have it be more accurate to what I had in my head. But, I just kind of felt like I was back in the same position, just recording or just spending, hours on tutorials and trying to figure out how to use the software and not really much time at all on the actual music portion of it. But, thankfully with that, there was a learning, kind of a steep learning curve for me, but I eventually got over it to a point where I felt like I could use the software for a decent amount, to a decent level of what I wanted to do, to the point where I didn't feel like I was wasting time just in tutorial hell trying to figure out how to use this. I felt like I had a decent handle on it and could just get what I wanted down without too much of a hassle. So once I had that down, a few more years go by, and right about kind of beginning of December of last year, a couple months ago, I just thought, well, why don't I just try and finish this album for Christmas, just to, kind of have like a Christmas album, and that gives me a nice deadline. I had a couple weeks to finish it. I had about half the album done, half left to go, and it seemed it was enough time to get it done, but it was short enough that it wasn't gonna feel super stretched out to me. It was gonna feel very very directional. Like I knew I was gonna have to spend a lot of time on it, and I did. I spent most of December. Of course, at least for me, with any art project that you think you're just gonna get done really fast, it takes probably like 10 times as long as you think. That's how it always goes for me. So I thought, I can just knock this out without too much trouble. I ended up spending just, hours a day, almost every day for the month of December on getting the rest of this stuff out. And, there were some songs I was really struggling to arrange. It wasn't sounding right. I didn't really know how to get it to where I wanted it. And at this point, I'm mostly just working on the arrangement aspects of it. The technology side isn't really dragging me down like it used to. So, and now it's just the more artistic side that I was struggling with. So that was a little bit of more of a new experience, that I wasn't like wrestling with the technology. But, and there were some songs I just couldn't get the arrangement right, and some that I thought, even after spending, 40 hours working through something, and there was one or two I just thought, I'm just gonna not use this one. I can't get it to a point that I'm satisfied with it, so I'm going to just cut it from the album. I was trying to have 10 songs total, and there's like one or two. I just thought, if I have an 8 or 9 song album, that's still complete enough. It's not as long as I wanted, but it's something. But I think the cool part is that those songs that I was struggling with the most, I just kind of kept working on it, and when I would get stuck, I would go work on some other things, come back to it later, and things would just feel, it's like I shook loose a knot or something, or like a blockage got kind of knocked loose a little bit, and I'd come back and I'd feel a little bit fresher, and I wouldn't feel so stuck on it. I would have some new ideas, so I would make a little bit more progress, and it would sound a little bit better. And then I'll get kind of stuck again and kind of repeat the process, go work on something else, come back to it, get a little bit more done. And the cool part for me is that those songs that I struggled with the most became some of my favorite songs of the album. And I think I did the best job of them. I enjoy listening to them the most. They feel the most creative and full to me compared to a lot of these other ones that I had an easier time putting together. So that was just really cool to see. You know, it was overall, this has been maybe a 8 or 9 year album, you know, just from start to finish. And I feel like it kind of showcases kind of like where I was when I started and having a lot of issues, and then up to now where I feel a lot more competent kind of putting these types of stuff together. So there's this kind of like timeline element of it. I can kind of see, you know, 2 very distinct points of kind of like artistic expression. And it was nice just to have something finished that I had started so long ago, and I had wanted to finish for a little while. I never felt like I was able to, and I just kind of pushed myself and got through it. And you know, this is just a personal project. This isn't something I'm selling, or you know, I'm trying to like put online and like start getting a following or anything like that. You know, it was purely just some things that I had in my head that I wanted to get out there. Just kind of purely a self-expression type project. So it just felt nice to finally have that finished. You know, have a full album of songs instead of just kind of a collection of a couple loose things that I had recorded over the years. So there's a lot of things, and I've talked about this before too, that I don't start because I think through the whole process and I think about how long it will take to finish, and that makes me not want to even start it at all. And I think the nice thing is that you can start something if you have interest in it, and you don't have to finish it, and you can wait 8-9 years and finish it like I did, or you can wait 25 years and then finish it, or you can never finish it. And that's fine too. You know, you still have whatever you have started, and even if you don't have any type of product, like finished product or anything like that to show for it, you know, you still have that experience of putting it together. You learn something through that. You express yourself in some way through that. So, you know, it's always valuable to start something, you know, whatever you kind of have a spark of interest in at the time. It's always worthwhile because you'll always get something out of it. You don't have to think through it in such a, you know, completionist mindset. And, you know, when you're feeling better about it and you want to come back to it later on, it's always there. You always can. And it's just nice to finish that stuff. You know, I felt very accomplished. It just felt like kind of like a whole era of life kind of encapsulated into just one, you know, short personal album. So it was a nice project. Glad I finished. Taking a long break from recording now because I got a little bit burnt out doing that, and you know, maybe I'll come back in a couple months, work on something else when I'm feeling a little bit more renewed. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you get something out of this. You know, hope it spurs you to start work on whatever you might be thinking about, if you are thinking about something, or maybe to get back and finish something you started a long time ago, or you know, if nothing else, just to be more okay with you know, starting and stopping things without feeling like you have to go all the way through, and just enjoying the experience as you go. It snowed a decent amount last weekend, and a lot of it melted. kind of nice to come out here. There's some spots where the sun hasn't quite hit too much yet across the river here.